Most men think attraction is about saying the right thing, the perfect line, the clever joke, the impressive story. But here's the truth. No one tells you. You can say all the right things and still be completely forgettable. Because attraction doesn't start with what you say. It starts with what she feels when she's talking to you. And most men kill that feeling in the first few minutes. Not because they're boring, but because they ask the same safe, predictable questions every other man asks. What do you do? Where are you from? How was your day? That's not connection. That's autopilot. High-value men move differently. They don't ask questions to fill silence. They ask questions that shift her emotionally, the kind that make her pause, think, feel, the kind she remembers later when she's alone. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that without trying too hard, without sounding scripted, and without becoming just another guy she forgets. Most men don't lose attraction because they're not good enough. They lose it because they sound like everyone else. Think about the last time you talked to a woman you liked. What did you ask her? What do you do? Where are you from? How was your day on the surface? Those questions seem normal, safe, polite. But that's exactly the problem. They don't create emotion. They don't create tension. They don't create anything she hasn't experienced 100 times before. And the moment you sound predictable, you become invisible. Because in her world, she's already had that exact same conversation with dozens of men. Same questions, same rhythm, same energy. No spark, no memory, no impact. High-value men understand something different. They don't ask questions to gather information. They ask questions to shift how she feels in the moment. So before we even talk about the right questions, you need to eliminate the ones that quietly destroy your presence. Because attraction doesn't die loudly. It dies in small, forgettable conversations that feel just like every other one. Now here's where everything changes. The goal is no longer to keep the conversation going. The goal is to make her feel something she didn't expect to feel with you. That starts with emotional openers, not logical questions, not interview questions, but questions that gently pull her out of autopilot and into herself. Instead of asking what she does, you ask, what's something that made you feel truly alive recently? Now pause. That question does something different. It forces her to step out of routine answers and reconnect with a real emotion. And when she feels that emotion, she starts associating that feeling with you. Or try this. When do you feel most like yourself? That's not small talk. That's identity. You're not asking for information. You're asking her to reveal a piece of who she actually is. And here's where most men mess up. They rush. They interrupt. They turn it back to themselves too quickly. Don't ask. Then hold space. Let the silence breathe. Let her think. Let her go deeper if she wants to. Because the power isn't just in the question, it's in the calm, grounded presence behind it. That's what makes her lean in. Emotional questions create connection, but tension is what creates attraction. And this is where most men hesitate. They get a good conversation going. She's comfortable. She's opening up. And then they stay there. Safe. Predictable. Easy. But comfort alone doesn't make her feel drawn to you. It makes her feel like you're nice. Tension is what shifts that, not aggression, not trying too hard, but subtle, playful challenge. For example, instead of always agreeing with her, you might say, "Be honest, are you always this hard to read? Or is it just me?" Now notice what that does. You're not attacking her. You're not being needy. You're introducing a light challenge with a hint of curiosity. It creates a moment where she has to engage differently. Or this, "You seem like someone who doesn't reveal everything right away. I'm curious if I'm right." Now you've created intrigue. You're not chasing her attention anymore. You're leading the interaction. And here's the key. Most men miss tension only works when it comes from calm confidence. If you sound unsure, it falls flat. If you overdo it, it feels forced. But when it's delivered with stillness, eye contact, and a slight smile, it creates that subtle push-pull dynamic that makes her think, wait, this guy feels different. And that difference is what keeps her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. Connection is where she opens up, but depth is where she starts to remember you. This is the stage most men never reach, because it requires patience, presence, and the confidence to go a level deeper without forcing it. Now, instead of staying in light emotional territory, you guide her into reflection. You might ask, what's something about you most people completely misunderstand? That question does something powerful. It gives her permission to drop the image she shows the world and reveal something real. Maybe she says people think she's cold, but she's actually just protective of her energy. Maybe she says everyone assumes she has it all together, but she's figuring things out like everyone else. Whatever it is, she's now showing you a part of herself most people never see. And here's the shift. She's no longer just talking to you. She's experiencing herself differently because of you. Or you can go even deeper. If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Now you've opened an emotional door. You're not just learning about her present, you're seeing her past, her growth, her scars, her lessons. And when a woman feels like a man can see all of that without judgment, without interruption, without trying to fix her, that's when something real starts to form. Because depth isn't about asking more questions. It's about asking the right ones and being grounded enough to handle the truth behind them. That's what separates a man she talks to from a man she doesn't forget. At this point, you should see it clearly. It was never about having the perfect line. It was never about being the funniest guy in the room. And it was never about trying harder than everyone else. Because the men who try the hardest are usually the ones she forgets the fastest. What actually stays with her is how she felt when she was around you. Did she feel seen? Did she feel understood? Did she feel something real that she doesn't usually feel? That's the difference. Anyone can talk. Anyone can ask questions. But very few men know how to create an emotional experience. And when you do, you stop being just another conversation in her day. You become the moment she replays later. The one she can't quite explain, but can't ignore either. So here's the question for you. Which part of this have you been missing? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're ready to become the man who doesn't chase attention, but naturally creates it, hit subscribe. Because once you understand this level of attraction, you don't go back.